heart out.
Hi, I'm Kayla Ogden.
And I'm Rachel Sear.
And this is Write Your Heart Out.
I almost said it with you. Okay, good.
Rachel said it last time, so
Yeah, it was your turn.
yeah, we
For sure.
awkwardly made a little eye contact, and
I thought the eye contact was telling me to go.
and
But
I
then
thought it was. I
shut
don't know
the
what
fuck
it
up.
was.
Keep your mouth shut. Well, hello again.
Hello, this is episode 31.
Oh my God.
It looks like.
We are rocking and rolling.
Oh yeah, Baba.
Look at us go.
Look at us go. So today we are going to talk about. We're finally going to talk about my manuscript assessment that I got from Cornerstones US.
Yes.
.com.
I am very excited to hear about it.
Yes.
And before we jump into it, though,
Yes.
you also went to the Writers' Conference.
Yes, I went to the San Francisco Writers Conference. So that was like 3 weeks ago now.
I know, isn't that wild?
Yeah. And the craziest thing is that, so I think I mentioned this before, but one of my favorite friends is Blair Vischer, who she sent in her poetry, and we were supposed to go together.
And Poet, you can find her episode. She reads her own work on our podcast a few, probably 10 episodes ago. Go find it.
Yeah, go find it, Blair Vischer. And she's, how much can I say about this? So she's kind of going through a time in her life where she's just carrying a lot and she doesn't have any help, really. So she has a ton of responsibilities, and there are people in her life that are supposed to be helping her with these, and they don't. And she's about to sort of like break free in a way and fly down here and spend that weekend with me. We decided, okay, we're going to volunteer at the conference because it's really expensive. And if we volunteer, we're going to meet people and network. And I'm going to get us a really nice hotel room and we're going to swank it up and it's going to be so amazing. And I've got you. And then the day before she's supposed to fly out, her husband's father has a heart attack and dies.
Oh, that's tragic.
Isn't that so sad?
Yeah.
And I was like, you should still come. Sorry, but you should. And she's like, I can't, dude. I'm like, okay, I know. Because her children are very close with, their grandpa.
Yeah.
So she had to stay home. And then I was alone.
Oh, no.
And I was like, do I have to cancel my hotel room? And then I told myself, no, you deserve it. So I just kept the hotel room and I just went down to San Francisco, and I went. It was amazing. I met so many cool people. I didn't meet any agents. It turned out that if you volunteer at the San Francisco Writers Conference, you're not allowed to pitch agents while you're there, because like you'll be in the volunteer room where there's all the snacks and coffees and stuff, and so will they. And they don't really want just people inundating them every second being like, hey, you want to see my book? They need time to like chill. But apparently, like, if they are to ask you what you're working on, you're more than welcome to pitch. But I just didn't really, there wasn't the divine timing. I just didn't really end up face to face with any. And to be honest, like, I looked through all their bios and it wasn't feeling right. Like, none of them were really like calling to me.
Question of the hour. Did you run into that guy?
Resistance?
No. Wait, resistance.
I'm like, are you personifying resistance?
No, the guy who slid your manuscript back over the table and was just like,
Oh my gosh, there's this guy,
Andy?
Andy Ross, and we have this podcast episode from the early days, and it's called The Blue Bonnie of Agents. And we ripped this guy to shreds, and he was at the conference, and we didn't see him. So,
Oh, okay. He didn't recognize you. You
Oh
didn't
my
lock
God.
eyes from across the
Room,
convention,
no.
and he just like drags his finger across his throat.
no, I didn't.
Okay.
I don't think I saw him at all.
Okay. But he was there.
Yes.
Okay.
I met a lot of young writers who it's like this was their first time being around, and I invited a lot of them to send in their work to the podcast. So it was not wasted at all. And I met this guy named Andy.
Another Andy.
Another Andy?
Well, the other agent who...
Oh, Andy Ross. Oh, yeah. Yeah, not the agent. This is like this cool like writer, and his job is to do social media for Twitch, and he's like in the area. I think he lives in San Francisco, but he's willing to drive out to Burlingame for our meeting.
Ooh, okay.
And he wants to be a part of the group. And he and I were just like the best of friends. And we just kept gravitating to each other. And I was just like, this is my guy. Like, he writes sci-fi with some like romance in it. And he's just the best. So if I took nothing else away from that conference, it was going to be my friendship with this guy, Andy.
New Andy. Okay.
Yeah. So that was that. But I missed you and I want to go to other ones with you.
Yes,
like, I'm kind of done with this one.
Okay. I would like to go to writers' conferences in general. That one didn't work. But you did meet someone named Janine Inez, who wrote us an email.
Great.
And Janine said, "Hey, Kayla and Rachel. This is Janine Inez. I met Kayla at the conference, and we talked about me potentially reading on the podcast. Yes, we want you to read on the podcast, Janine.
Yes, Janine.
She runs a Substack called Heart Maintenance.
Oh my gosh.
And then she gives a link to it for us.
Heart Maintenance.
And so I'd love to be featured if that's available. It is definitely available. We would love to feature you with Janine.
Yes, I remember her. She is so smart. I asked
look at her. She's so cute. We just pulled up a picture of you.
So there was an author there who was doing a keynote in the afternoon, and she wrote like middle grade kooky little comic books that are really popular, but I couldn't like get into it. Like it wasn't in my wheelhouse, and it just... The author was talking about her own kind of like biography, like what brought her to this phase of life where she's so successful and whatnot. And I was just like, I can't. So I left, and then she was sneaking out at the same time.
Oh, okay.
And I looked at her, I'm like, I'm so bored, I'm going to die. Like, I will die from boredom. And I started asking her about Show Don't Tell, actually. Mm-hmm. And she has a film background. Oh my gosh, it says she's Dr. Janine Inez.
All right.
Damn.
Doctor.
She's the cool. She's very I'm
holistic psychiatrist. Holistic psychiatric nurse practitioner.
Writer, artist, and witch. Cultivating a temple of artists who want to gloriously unblock and express their creativity.
Janine, we want to more than feature you. Can you come on and be a guest on this show?
Maybe she knows about voice. So
I hope so.
So what else does she say in her letter?
Okay, well, the rest of it's just us. She's just being very nice to us. It's been delightful listening to your episodes. I love the fresh and down-to-earth approach that the two of you have.
Whoa.
You two just keep it real, which is such a breath of fresh air in this day and age. Best, Janine.
Janine! Oh my gosh, that's... okay, well, she can just send it in. But did you respond to her?
I have not responded yet because I just saw it this morning.
Yeah, did she ask any questions, or she just was wondering if she can send it?
She was wondering if she could send it.
Hell yeah, she can send it.
Yes, absolutely. So...
send it all day, baby.
Yes, we will definitely want to talk to you. We'll be in touch.
Yeah, I'm so thrilled that it was you, because I did tell several people to send in their work, and I am excited to hear from different people, but you definitely stood out to me. So as promised, I'm going to talk about this now, right?
Please.
Okay, so the Cornerstones Literary Consultancy. A successful author told me that she had worked with these people, Cornerstones Literary Consultancy. So I reached out, and they said, we'll link you up with this editor, and we're going to charge you this money. So I sent in my manuscript, and I got linked up with Fiona McLaren. And then they sent me this after a while, after like a few weeks. She sent me this like 18-page manuscript assessment, and it was so amazing and so key. Let me just tell you guys what she told me that I took away and that I'm going to work on, and then the things that she said, I guess, that I'm not going to work on. But what she told me was so eye-opening. And it was amazing to just have an expert read your work with a fine-tooth comb and give it their all, like give you their full attention. So she was saying things that worked really great with it was like the pacing, the setup, like she loved all of that. There was a prologue that I wrote for the book. And what it was Lonnie, the protagonist, as a little child, and her mother and her grandmother. So there's these 3 generations of women. In the prologue, I wanted to show the relationship between Lonnie and her mother, like as Lonnie was a child, so you could see the depth of the control and like the abuse that Lonnie was under so early. So Lonnie's 5 years old in the prologue, and her mother has just bleached her hair. So Lonnie has black hair, but her mother, who's a hairstylist, has like completely stripped it of all color and put this chemical on her daughter, right? And then when they go to see the grandmother's kind of appalled that that Jolene, the mother, would put bleach on her child's head, and they have this back and forth. And then the grandmother wants to take the little girl to her husband's grave. So she wants to take Lonnie to her grandfather's grave. And then they go back and forth and whatever. And it's like a sad scene. And in the scene, the mother, Jolene, decides that the little girl, Lonnie, isn't going to get to see her grandma anymore. And then at the end of the scene, it's like you have Lonnie in the back of this car driving away, and the grandma is like out in the street in her stockings, like blowing kisses, and like it's like they're being ripped away from each other. And I wanted this to set up like this is this horrible dynamic between Lonnie and her mother. And I also wanted to set up that there was this grandmother that really loved Lonnie, and that was her other family. Because when we meet Lonnie in my book, she has nowhere to turn. She has no family, no one. And I kind of wanted to show like how that came about and that it's like the mom's fault. But what Fiona said was this is an info dump, because it's like every line and every word of dialogue in the prologue had this intention of informing the reader. And I wanted to inform the reader about so much. Like the prologue was doing so much heavy lifting. And so she called it an info dump. And I had never thought about it that way, because to me it was done in a more nuanced way than, say, like if you're watching a Netflix series and the mom comes in and she goes, "Oh, well, I'm late for my job at the magazine where I think my boss is mad at me, but if I lose my job, I won't be able to pay the mortgage because your father already lost his job and I'm sorry that you're feeling so," like that.
Totally.
I didn't want it to be like that, but she still, like, she clocked it, and readers are smart, and it is like sort of exhausting, like taking in all this information like that. So she was like, get rid of it.
I think you should read her, because I'm looking at the same letter. I think you should read what her little list of what an info dump looks like.
Yes.
And then her little list of why info dumps are problematic.
Okay, yeah. So I think that with these Cornerstones literary manuscript assessments, if they find an info dump in the work, they paste in this list.
Yeah.
So how to avoid info dumps. Show, don't tell. Use actions, scenes, and character behavior to convey information rather than having characters explain it directly. Weave information into the story. Deliver necessary information in small, relevant pieces at the moment when it's needed. Focus on relevance. Ask yourself if the information is essential for the reader to understand the current events. If not, it may not need to be in the story or in this part of the story. Use natural dialogue. Make conversations sound realistic by having characters only share information that is necessary for the current situation. Trust the reader. You don't have to give the reader every piece of information at once. Let them put the pieces together as the story unfolds. Okay, so that was the
how to avoid.
So this is what an info dump looks like. A single long passage of exposition. Several pages or paragraphs are dedicated to explaining a topic rather than the information being distributed over time. A long-winded conversation. Characters explain things to each other that they already know, often for the benefit of the reader. Unnatural dialogue, the "as you know, Bob" method, where one character explicitly tells another character information they both already know. A verbose backstory, a detailed chronological account of a character's past that halts the current story's momentum. An overly detailed prologue, a prologue that functions as a history lesson instead of a story hook. So that's what I had.
Okay.
So why info dumps are problematic? They disrupt the narrative flow. They can be jarring and cause the reader to disengage from the story. They can be boring. Readers may lose interest when confronted with dense, uncontextualized information. They can feel like filler. They can make the writing feel padded and detract from the main action. They prevent organic world building. They show rather than allow the reader to experience the world through the character's perspective. So I love this, and I love, like, I think I'm getting much better at this as I've learned to write more. But
so after she talks about info dumps, she says that she suggests that you should remove the prologue and work it in as a flashback later in the story. And the various hops back and forth into your past work is successful. So starting with one slows down the story's opening, which I find really interesting because essentially you're getting the same impact as a flashback to hear that is like an info dump if it's at the beginning, but as a flashback it would work. I think that's just a really cool point of view from this professionals, like, oh, okay, it can work in different contexts.
Yes. And I think like, so say for this scene, if this scene were a flashback, when would it naturally kind of arise? Like, okay, so there's a scene in the book where, so Lonnie as an adult, she still has bleached blonde hair. She doesn't have her natural black hair. But when she goes to work at this brothel, the madame and the people who work there, they decide like, no, you look really inauthentic. We want you to look like yourself. So they dye her hair black and they cut her hair. And I think the hair cutting happens off page. And I think that that's when she should remember, like when she was little and her mother first dyed her hair and how her grandmother reacted and how much her grandmother would like the way she looks now. Like that would be a way better time. Like she can be remembering that as like the locks fall off.
Sure.
And that's contextualized, right? Like it's happening, or you could dole that information out over time. So I was more than happy to cut that prologue. In fact, it's like there's these things that I've been catching on, like it's like I've known they aren't right. It's almost unconscious or something. Like whenever I would paste that into the query letter, I would think, oh, do I have to show the prologue because it's not as strong as the first chapter? I could take out the prologue to, tell the agents like, this is my first pages. And then they'll be like more hooked into the book. And then later, if they decide to sign me, I can be like, oh, I have this prologue. Like, what do you think? But it's like, well, if you don't want to show it to the agent, then why do you want to show it to the reader? It's just because it's trying to serve this purpose of doing this, but it's obviously not doing it well if you don't like stand behind it. So it was great. Like she just was like, no, she just answers my like internal questions for me, which is amazing. Okay, so she says this other thing, which was also great. There's also one area of your setup that I found difficult to connect with, and it was Lonnie's hypersexuality. While I can see that you've worked this character trait into the story as a whole, I think it needs a more gradual setup, and we need a deeper understanding of why this is the way that Lonnie acts. And she goes into this more deeply later in the letter, or actually she did in our meeting. But on the first scene of this book, Lonnie is at this horrible commercial photo shoot. So she's the model and she's sitting on this stool or whatever. And at one point, and, everything's kind of natural and normal. And you think, okay, I've got this teenager. She's having an awkward time at this photo shoot. She has this weird relationship with her mom, whatever. And then Lonnie looks at the director, who's this guy, and he has a pot belly and he has like a neck beard and stuff. And she thinks, oh, he looks like he hasn't been laid all year. And she thinks she likes that about him. And she says this thing about, okay, this is going to be graphic, you guys. In the middle of the scene, she's looking at him and she's going, oh, he looks like he hasn't been laid all year. He would be one of those don't move kind of guys who came as soon as he entered her. And she likes those kind of guys.
Quick and easy, I guess.
And it's jarring. Like it is jarring for that to all of a sudden just pop up on the page. And I think it was kind of jarring for my beta readers. And I think before, when I was writing this, I kind of wanted to kind of shock people. There's some writers that I listen to, or like Otessa, how do you pronounce this?
Moshfeh?
And novelist, name pronunciation.
Just say it.
Or names from literature.
Fucking say it.
Pronounce them correctly. Make sure to stay tuned. Otessa. Moshfeh.
Oh my God, I fucking hate that guy.
Yeah, that was the worst thing ever.
Okay. I'm gonna. Okay. Otessa Moshfegh.
Moshfegh. Yes.
So I love her work. She did My Year of Rest and Relaxation, and she has these really shocking parts that you're just like, oh my God. Actually, it's like Rachel and I have been talking about how I clock these all the time where there's these scenes that just bowl you over that you're like, oh my gosh, it's so shocking. So I guess I kind of wanted a little bit of that. Like,
sure.
Like you're reading something kind of nasty. But her point was really well taken. And then when I softened it, so I went back and I softened that, and it works so much better now, I think. So she was saying that they need a deeper understanding of why Lonnie feels like this or acts the way she acts. So this is how I framed it. He didn't catch her gaze, so she studied him. He had bags under his eyes, a dark, patchy beard that ran down his neck, and a pot belly. She sensed that he hadn't been with a woman in a very long time, and she liked that about him. If only she could get him alone, she could make him see her. Then he would root for her, help her succeed at this. Sex was magic like that. In 15 minutes, it could turn a stranger into a friend. But there was no way to do that now. As it stood, she was no more important to him than the prop box of dryer sheets. So it's like saying the same thing, but it's giving it like more of a depth.
Oh, well, way more depth. I mean, that shows that she thinks that sex will turn someone into her friend.
Yeah.
And not just, I mean, that gives so much more context into how she thinks.
Yeah. And I think that like in the aftermath of the Me Too movement, you know, some women and men and people in the world have provided sexual favors in order to get ahead in life. You know, whether it's being a sex worker and like directly selling sex, or being in this sort of situation where you know that if you have sex with this person, you're going to get closer to them, and then you're going to, you know, get a leg up in the world. Mm-hmm. And I think that the person who does that, like say somebody wins the Best Actress Academy Award and it's like a newcomer or whatever, and people are like, oh, well, she only got that because she fucked the head of the production studio. Right. And it's really, really looked down upon, right? It's seen as like cheating, greedy and conniving, and I just wanted to show that like with Lonnie, it's like she kind of is doing that in a way. She kind of does use sex, but she's actually using it to gain acceptance and friendship with people and get close to people and make people see her. And she finds that that's the only way she really knows how to do it. Yeah,
I feel like you get that from the change.
Okay, cool. Yeah. See, it was just like she said this one little thing and I was able to just quickly change it. And I'm like, whoa, that really like feels so much more open and like in tune with what else is going on. So that was amazing. And let's see what else I can talk about. Oh, there's a part of the story where somebody Lonnie knows commits suicide and uses something that Lonnie has in order to commit suicide. Fiona told me, you know, in that to make that moment like a lot richer, like show a lot more of Lonnie's back and forth about giving the person this item and regretting it and wanting to take it back. But then, you know, this stuff gets in the way. And so to make it more tragic. And I did that. And I thought that was really great. Okay. One part that's really, really tough for me is one of the point of view characters dies in this book. And when they die, I wrote the scene in sort of this way where I wanted it to be like, did he die or didn't he die? I wanted to leave his chapter where this is such a huge spoiler, but okay. So somebody shoots him.
Oh, no.
And this is from his point of view, right? So it's like he's on the ground and he's looking and he's seeing blood on someone else. And he's like, oh, that person got hurt, you know? Because he doesn't realize like that he's been shot.
Sure.
So I don't overtly say like he's been shot, but like the clues are there and then it like stops there. So you're like, oh, he died. And then in the next chapter, it's him sitting in the back of a cop car thinking that he's going to jail forever. But then he like slips off his handcuffs and like gets out of the car and starts walking, and he sees his body on the concrete. And now, like, he had formerly shaved his head. Now he has, like, it's like, oh, the wind went through his curls. He has his rosary in his hand, which he didn't have before. Like, he's kind of like himself again.
Sure.
So that's his spirit, right? Like, looking down at his body dying. And then he like is taking steps towards his body, and he sinks into the concrete and like gets engulfed in the cement. And so that was a way of like kind of artistically showing like how he died. I wanted the reader to go, oh, is he or isn't he, and whatever. But I noticed that my beta readers didn't totally get like how he was killed. I was like, okay, obviously he was shot. Like, in the scene, it's like he drops, he has a tape recorder in his hand. He drops it, and then he goes for it. And it's like, well, the police thought he was going for a gun, so they shot him. So you're supposed to kind of like you're supposed to infer that. There's a lot of clues there that show what happened, but you have to like read for them and read really closely to find them. And she was like, that's too much of a departure from the style that the rest of your book is written in. The rest of your book isn't written like that. And she wants me to have a scene where he just like gets shot.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And she thinks that that's going to be way more impactful. So this one is a super, super darling, and it's going to be really hard for me to let go. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to write it the other way first, and I have to sit with it for a while before I decide if I'm going to take her advice on that one.
But it is interesting that she would say it's not in the style of the book, because that makes sense, right?
Yeah, I know. It's like, but it's a different kind of moment, because it's like when like everything else in the book is happening on like the natural plane, but it's John's point of view, and he's dying. So his point of view becomes spiritual and ethereal because he's a spirit.
It makes sense as you're explaining it. However, if it's not in the same voice as the rest of the book,
baby,
then it would feel very like, am I supposed to understand? Supposed to understand what's happening right now? Because we're not in the same plane anymore.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I don't know, maybe there's somewhere that I can come to that's like somewhere in between. One thing that I'd like to also address, if you don't mind, is so there's a part in my book where a character comes to another character and confesses something. So she says, the story has a truly devastating climax, which I love hearing that. I want my book to devastate the shit out of you guys. And one character approaches another character and has to tell this character that an event that happened in her past isn't the way that she always remembered it, because this person was there and was involved in a way that changed her whole life and whatever. So he has like this huge confession that solves a riddle that's going throughout the whole book.
Okay.
And he basically just tells her, and she asks questions, and then they weep together, and she forgives him, and it's like, we were children, and like this kind of thing. And Fiona said, I think you need to look at a better execution of this reveal. The character who's receiving this revelation, this confession, that person is largely passive, just hearing about their own horrific past. So I was like, oh, well, what are you talking about? And then this that she says kind of makes sense. So instead, you could dramatize the revelation and break up the discourse. But for me, I'm like, I already showed the event. I'm not going to show this event again. But it says, incorporate the character's own fractured memories that emerge in reaction to the other character's confession. So as the person's confessing, I'm supposed to have her go, even just like little flashes, like the candle on the table, the smell of this, like, oh, but that wasn't this crashing to the floor. Oh, that did mean that. Oh, that's what that was. Like that kind of thing, like putting the pieces together with her own memories and visuals as he's telling her.
Sure, right.
So I'm like, damn, like that's going to make it so much better.
Yeah.
Because this book is a tragedy, and I have been like, I want to make people cry, and they're not fucking crying. But I think that this would really give this scene so much more texture, and really bring it home. If anyone ever tells me that my book made them sob or something, I'm going to be so happy. Like, if those BookTok girlies are on there weeping in front of their phones, I'm going to be like, yes, I made it. There were so many amazing things. Also, like, there's a character in the book who's the madame of the brothel, and she's very one note. She's just a bad guy. Like, she's just the lady in charge. And I named her Kathy after Kathy from East of Eden, who's also a madame, who is my favorite. Kathy in East of Eden is my favorite bad guy in any work of fiction that I've ever encountered on screen or on paper or anything. She's amazing. So I kind of was inspired by that Kathy. But Fiona clocked her and said that, like, she needs more nuance. She can't just be like this completely evil person. Like, why is she even evil? And why is she doing any of the things she's doing? Like, she can't just be doing these things just to hurt, just to get in Lonnie's way and just to be a plot device. Sure. I love that. And I'm going to make her more nuanced. And that's going to totally improve the story. It's going to be amazing. I can't go on for too much longer, but one thing, she gave me so many amazing compliments. She said that it was a fabulous read, and such a strong novel. She can't wait to see what happens. She's very invested in each of the main characters, and she thinks the book's really going to shine. So part of this deal that I did with Cornerstones was that I got a meeting with her, and it was like, you get a half-hour meeting with your person to follow up and ask any questions. So I met with Fiona. She's Scottish, but she lives in Cyprus.
Yes, we talk about Cyprus.
And she looks like Baby Spice.
Oh.
And she's amazing. And she told me things. We were talking about Lani's character and like what it's like to be that age and get kicked out of your house. Like, Fiona left her home as a teenager, and she talked about what that experience was like with her parents. And I talked about how I moved out when I was 17 and what happened in my home that made me leave, and like what that felt like and what children do to appease their parents and like all of this stuff. We got so deep. And this is like what's amazing is she was supposed to just go over this manuscript assessment. There's a whole separate thing that you can buy where it's like a query assessment where she looks at your letter and she goes through whatever your synopsis and stuff. And immediately when she got on the call, she told me that what my book was, which I've been confused about the whole time. She says that it's book club fiction.
Ooh, okay.
Because she says that there's a lot of really great talking points.
Sure.
And she said that there's a lot of other categories that get a lot of shine, especially on the internet, like speculative fiction, high fantasy, romantasy, like all of these shiny books that like kind of come to the center, and they're very easy to, send out a PR campaign about and write a headline about, and they're very hooky. But she said that the bread and butter of the publishing industry has always been these book club titles like Where the Crawdads Sing, sure, and like Kristen Four Winds and all the books that we read in our book club.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
That's what she fucking told me my book was, and I was like, oh my God, thank God that's what my book is. Because I feel like my book is like smart, but it's not super like brainy and literary.
Sure.
But it's not like really, really light and romancy either. And there's like this historical, like there's all that. And she just like completely crystallized it. It was fucking amazing. And then she told me what my comps were, and I just love her to death. And then she told me, she's like, hey, as part of your thing, I'm going to look at your query letter and your synopsis, and I'll let you know what needs to go and what needs to.
Okay.
She just was going to do it for free. So I sent it to her, and I wasn't hearing back from her. And then I got this email from her.
Ooh, baby.
So I told Sean, my husband, like yesterday, I was like, I guess I'm just going to start sending out my queries because she's not getting back to me, and I don't know if I should wait. And he's like, well, she said she'd send it to you on Monday, so it's only been a few days. You should just wait. And then I get this email from her. Sorry for my delayed response. My village has been evacuated because of drone missile strikes, so I'm out of my home office, but I will be back to this as soon as I possibly can.
Oh my God.
Fiona.
Whew, heart-wrenching. That's awful.
Fucking Fiona is
Drone
out
missile
of her
strikes.
house. So then I looked up what was going on in Cyprus, and Cyprus is crazy, dude, because there's just like it's like close to Iran.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Iranian. It used to be like of the UK, but then it's independent. So like it's like the UK has a stake in it. And there was like a drone strike, I think, by Iran on one of like the UK bases there. And then so now the UK has sent like this huge like warship over there. And I am just like,
That's scary.
well, damn, when are you going to get back to me though?
Kayla!
Oh my God, I'm
This
completely...
is like World War III.
I know, you can't even fucking joke about it. Obviously you can't joke about that. I feel for her, and I hope she's okay. And like...
That's pretty much the best reason ever to not be getting back to you. I gotta say.
Exactly. Like,
yeah,
it kind of makes my whole endeavor feel kind of trite, but it also feels like I just feel so blessed, and like life is so weird that like I ended up here and she's there, or just I'm here and everyone is everywhere else. Like I just feel like I have the best life, and I don't know. It's a crapshoot. I don't know. I didn't do anything to deserve it. So yeah, it's just it's painful to hear that she's going through that, and
sure, yeah.
I really hope that she's okay.
Yeah, definitely.
So maybe I can keep you guys.
Keep us in the loop. I want to know that she's okay.
I told her to like text me or call me if there's anything I can do for her overseas, and I just like had this fantasy that like her and like her husband and her cat like get on a plane and like come out here, and then she's like my best friend and she like lives with me.
Oh, that'd be cute.
Yeah, that would be cute. But
you'd be a refugee, a home for refugees. I mean, I'm into it.
Yeah,
I mean,
the offer's not on the table, but I have to cut all this shit.
Okay. I am so glad that you got so much from this.
Yes.
That's great. And
there's even more. There's like so much more, but
there was a lot. This is a nice chunk letter of
very
clearly
deep.
Very good information.
And she's such a pro. So I highly recommend hiring Fiona McLaren. You can find her on reedsy.com.
Can you give, you don't have to give the exact amount, but can you give a number as to what something like this costs?
Through Cornerstones, it was over $1,000.
Okay.
And you could pay more to like be with, a higher tier, whatever, this and that. But it is over $1,000. I forget exactly how much it was. But I think, not to poo-poo on Cornerstones, but I don't think they'll ever listen to this. I would just go through Reedsy and just hire her. I think like Cornerstones is a little bit of like a go-between.
Okay,
and
sure.
Maybe not
she needs a paycheck. So like she's got a job with Cornerstones.
Yeah. And they refer people to her kind of thing.
Exactly.
But like you could just hire her directly too.
Okay, well, that's awesome. And thank you for sharing that. And I'm a little bummed that you couldn't give away spoilers because we, that would have been fun to go through the entire thing. But now we're just going to have to wait for these to happen and then read it when it comes out, which is, actually the goal of your life.
There's just so many like reveals and stuff.
I know.
And I want everybody who listens to the pod to pre-order my book when it comes out one day, even though I don't have an agent yet and it's nowhere near, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you for sharing. And next episode, what are we talking about?
We're going to probably have a story time with
I guess we've been 2 episodes and now we'll need a story time.
But I also want to read Madeline Cash's Lost Lambs.
Oh shoot.
Do you think we could do that really quick?
I can try. I can't. I'll buy it. I'll buy it and see how fast I can go. I'm gonna try. We like to be on top of things.
Yeah, I like to be relevant.
Of course.
But Rachel can't say no, so I'm like, oh.
Yeah,
I'm totally pressuring her right now.
I mean, I'm going to do what I can. I have to buy it first. So yes.
Okay, next time will be something story time or talking about Madeline Cash's Lost Lambs. Read along with us, book club. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. See ya. Bye.